I need a lot of help too. Maybe it's now that I get my help back and call in some favors from the home team. But quality stuff. I think telling stories is what we love to hear. I mean, we crave it as kids, we crave it as adults, and when it's real and it's that grind versus the fluff and the fake, there's something to it. And that's what I hear from Bill, as well as if it's hilarious. If it's a hilarious story and you can weave that true, real grit humor into it, that's what people, at least from a patron aspect and a person that is not a true entertainer, but a person that lives life real, that's what I'm keen on. And we all cut through the bullshit pretty quick. We know we've lived long enough to know that's pretty fake. And we laugh it off as far as, okay, haha. But when it's real and it's real funny and it's true, there's something to be said. That's quality content, in my opinion, as a person.
Have we been live for the last minute and 15 seconds?
Yeah, no, this is good stuff.
Okay, good. All right.
This is a guy who practices what he preaches.
Yeah, no, this is my buddy Josh that we grew up together. We've got a lot of the same friends, and we played baseball together and stuff, but when we were growing up together, we walked very separate types of lives. Like Josh grew up religious in a religious family. I grew up completely opposite of that. And in my family, it was like baseball, and like that's all we fucking gave a shit about. Yeah. And his family was looking on a broader scale. But then as we grew up and went through life, Josh was in the Navy and then worked as a contractor during the Iraq and Afghanistan wars and all that. Like, I mean, I'm talking out of fucking turn here, but I'm just kind of giving a synopsis.
It's cool.
But now through that life experience that he's had and mine, we're so much closer together now.
Real experience and real, I mean, we don't get obviously the choice of parents in this life or what place in the world we get thrown into. Yeah. And my choice in cards were a very conservative Christian family. But being very fortunate to be educated as Bill and in a great inner city, upbringing, and then thrown into the real world of military and conflict environments. And it's brought, I mean, that world that Bill was talking about, the contrasting to a very familiar lining that we still have as brothers. And I'm thankful that I've had those real life experiences to know what value is, and to go back to entertainment and humor and story when, especially now with everything that is going on in this world, we need your stories. We need the real storytellers that are hilarious, but it's real truth to come out, and that's healing. That's life on the road, which you all know very, very, very well.
Yeah, like the time I fucked a porn star in front of her husband. People want to hear that shit. I'm telling you, you haven't lived till you looked over and saw a dude in a chair jerking off while you're fucking his wife, dude. It's pretty crazy.
I've never lived that real.
I want that real life.
That is not that. I like my real.
I remember when I did it. When it happened, I took a picture and I sent it to my best friend Kelly. I sent it to Kelly.
You were being real. That wasn't a joke.
Yeah, no, not at all.
That's part of the problem with comedians too. You can't tell, I think we get away with a lot of, say, confessional type stuff because 50% of it is 100% true because of how fucked up we all are.
Yeah, but we
the other
embellish it to
50%,
make it funny or whatever.
right, and the other 50% is complete nonsense and punchlines just said for humor. But it's really only shocking when you compare it to a normal person's life, not when you compare it to other comedians. Like, is that a joke or is that real? And then it's always
Comics
sort of
were going, yeah. I
mean, that totally sounded like a setup punchline for a stand-up bit, that whole thing. Oh, yeah, it's real, and I'm going to do this big, deep soliloquy about life experience and gaining value through
my fucking porn star while her husband.
Yeah, like when you're banging a porn star in front of her husband, he's jerking off in the corner. That is such a stand-up. That is a stand-up bit. That is exactly what you would see, especially like one of these like David Cross type performance artists do, where they do like a long 5 minutes, like from the heart,
This
just
huge
to
setup and
pull
then
the
just
rug out
fucking,
from
yeah.
Anyway,
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously it sounds like a stand-up bit because we start telling the story and my stupid fucking brain works like that. So of course I go to that thing. And so of course it sounds that way because I inserted a punchline all of a sudden.
You did. But what's cool about it is exactly what Nick, is that your buddy's name? Did I get that right?
Josh.
Nick? Josh. Where
yeah.
get Nick?
I don't know. He just went up to refill our drinks.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Josh is he was living in Florida and we had, kind of reconnected on Facebook, and I was back. I was going to I had a 2-week run doing Orlando and Tampa improvs. And it was New Year's. So I went down early. Iowa was playing in the Outback Bowl in Tampa. So I'd never been to a bowl game. So I got that 2-week run. I actually emailed Stroop and asked if I was like, hey, if either one of these weeks is open in Tampa or Orlando, I want it because I want to go to this bowl game. So they made it happen for me, and Josh was living there. So Josh ended up hooking up with me in Orlando, going to the bowl game. We went to Universal Studios that weekend, like hung out in the hotel. They came to shows, and he's a super deep, thoughtful dude. I mean, he's not in any way, shape, or form. You know how you meet people that are really smart and they can't wait to let you fucking know how smart they are instead of just letting it just happen. You
have exactly 77% chance of running into that person on any given day, and I know.
Yes, for sure. For sure. But he's just one of these guys that I know for a fact is so fucking ridiculously like Rhodes Scholar level smart, and he doesn't ever talk to you like that.
Oh, very cool.
You know what I mean?
And would that be like the actual characteristic of a genuine intelligent person?
I believe so. Yes.
Well, because
they have the ability to change in some way.
Yeah. Normally I headline. You're like, yeah, we
normally I headline. Uh-oh, you froze. Dog's frozen. I'm pretty sure everybody can still hear me.
If you actually did, you would. Thank God.
Oh, there you are. Are you good?
Katrina Brown. Oh, hey, Katrina. She says, love the beard there. Jeremy.
Hey, love the beard there. You going to the bar or no?
Not anymore.
Hey, tomorrow, fucking COVID Kim. Oh, no, not your county. COVID Kim told every county but story in and Johnson that they could open up tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
But they said fuck you, Ames in Iowa City.
Those are the big colleges, and that's what they say is the big culprit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt it, but it's not like that's going to change if they're on campus anyway.
Oh, agreed.
You know, I mean,
100%. It's not like
it's not like you're not going to go to a fucking big ass house party and be stacked on top of each other anyway.
Oh, the bars are closed. I guess I'll just stay in my dorm.
Yeah, I'm just going to play video games tonight.
I don't know what to do.
I don't want any pussy. It's a pandemic. Fuck yeah. Okay. 19, 20-year-old me. There ain't no fucking way 19 or 20-year-old me would have stayed in. No fucking way.
No. Well,
dude, 42-year-old me doesn't want to.
I know. I
just know it's frowned upon.
Robin, hey, Jared Doc, first live I've made. 1,000 pardons. Oh, it's all good. Good to have you here, though.
We're gaining traction. We're gaining traction, Jared Dog. I don't know if you want to back off, dude. People are starting to make it a point, man. They're starting to, you know. Yeah. You got to stick through the tough times.
Yeah. 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 Got to stick through the tough times. I did the. I'm ready for the easy times.
Oh, I feel you, man.
I was done with the struggle before smartphones came out. I was done with the struggle back when you had to flip your phone open in order to call somebody.
Like done in your head or done like just fed up?
Done. Oh, both. Oh, what about the struggle, man? I mean, there's a difference between the struggle.
I guess what I mean was, were you not struggling? When you were done with the struggle, were you not struggling?
There were struggles, but I wasn't struggling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you're to the point where you're like, the struggle kind of means dealing with bullshit.
Yeah, I'm at the point where, and on a constant and consistent basis, and it's the same bullshit. Oh, like this, like everybody read from the same script. That there were struggles because you're in the world of comedy, but 80% of them came from the people that were also comedians.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like as far as getting a crowd, and as far as finding a network of venues to perform, that struggle it ended years ago. 80% of my problems came from other comedians. You want to fucking keep it real? Let's keep it real.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I dog on bookers and one-nighters and all that kind of, and that whole system, part of it is I'm not really dogging on them. I'm dogging on like a dysfunctional
the comics that fucked it up.
But it's all, yeah, that's 50%, at least 50% of has got to be the fault.
Dude, the fucking itineraries. I mean,
I don't blame most of them for being the way they are.
Yeah, because that's what happens when, like, you look at it like a like a restaurant owner.
Yeah,
like it's kind of that same thing where one employee is constantly taking free fucking cans of pop out of the refrigerator.
That's right.
And now they're out of pop, and when someone orders that, they can't give it to them. So then from that point on, no one in the whole fucking restaurant's allowed to have a free pop.
Right. Right.
And so now they add another fucking thing to the list of rules when you become employed. So It's the same thing. All of a sudden, we're getting itineraries going. Don't ask for drugs on stage.
Right.
You don't get. There's no free drinks because when there was free drinks, fucking somebody lit something on fire and nobody got to do it ever again.
That's right. That's right. And Katrina's a good example. Katrina, if you're still watching, back me up on this. It was like 2016. It's got to be 2016. 4 years ago. 4 years ago, we run into each other at a couple gigs, and I'm like, hey, we should do a show together. And she's like, all right, make it happen. And then I kind of blew it off. And then she hit me up in the summertime and she's like, hey, man, what about that show we were going to do together? Can we make that happen? And within like, what was it, 2 weeks, I had the whole rest of the year filled up with shows for us to do. Like the bookings of the shows and the getting of the crowds and all that headache and quote struggle that really, because once you find your own once you find your crowd, once you find the places you can go to and perform, fucking game over. You know what I'm saying?
At the very least, the fucking, not necessarily your crowd is in Jared Dog's crowd, but your crowd is in the demographic and knowing what you're marketing to.
Yeah, see, look at this. The stoner that saved Christmas. And the hustle was enjoyable. It was the grind. It was like I loved talking to all the people that I was working with for the most part because we were all working together as a team. Mm-hmm. And the trouble where I ran into most of the time was comedians not doing what they're supposed to do, not being where they're supposed to be, pulling out last minute because they had a gig that paid $50 more. Oh, and by the way, Katrina, if you want to comment on this as well, typically speaking, was the pay more or less above average than the standard? Not that that's saying a whole lot.
Well, if you're doing it together, you were probably splitting it, right?
Yes, but it was still better. But even with the split,
it was better than headliner pay on a general one-nighter.
In general, she says yes with a question mark. Sometimes not.
She doesn't remember. She doesn't remember how much she spent.
Way more. Sometimes not. Sometimes
she doesn't remember how much she spent until the next day.
Yeah, no. She put up a post one time, and if I'm saying this wrong, let me know. She wrote, "Oh my gosh, I just got back from the West Coast tour with Jeremy. We hit LA, we did this, we did that." And then someone commented, "Oh yeah, how much did all that cost you?" And she's like, nothing. We made money on this. Or they wrote, "How much money did you lose?" And she's like, "Not a dime. We made money on this."
Why did they ask if why did they ask if you lost money? Why did they assume you lost money?
Because you're comedians. I think that's part of the problem. Comedians, we were talking about earlier, that ruin it for everybody, still do that. And they do it through social media. And I'm here to call them out right here and right now. The ones that would say things, and not personally, because I don't remember, but you hear it a lot, where it's, "Oh, as comedians, we don't make any money." And it's like, yeah, you know why? Because you constantly talk about how you don't make any money. Who would ever pay you money? Who would ever pay you money when you just admitted in public? And then, and by the way, you didn't just say you, Mr. Shecky McHack, doesn't make money. You said all comedians don't make money. And so now over here, gig giver, bar owner, club booker, one-nighter guy.
No, he doesn't have to pay you very much.
$30. You should be grateful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know a story about a booker who will remain nameless, but and it was the conversation was had with Bush and not me. Yeah. But basically he was talking to him about someone asking what they should pay for comedy or whatever. Like they were going to book something and they called this booker and they were like, "Well, how much should I pay? How much should we pay comics?" They were like, I was planning on paying him this much. And he goes, oh, you don't got to pay him that much. They'll come for $200.
Right. That's my point.
And
you know,
Bush is going,
yep.
Bush is like, you realize you're telling a comic this right now.
Yeah.
Like, you just dicked all of us right there. Like, what the fuck?
Yep.
It's such a shitty mentality.
The last show I did before the whole shutdown thing happened was with Katrina, and we made serious bank doing each. We had to share a 12-minute spot as part of a. Oh, you did it! Do you remember the Red Hot winter in?
Oh yeah, Rod Sickler.
Rod Sickler with the runway models and the variety acts and the blues bands and the right.
That shit was a blast, dude. That was fun.
And now it's not just in that armory. Oh, look, and Tiffany, you were there. I was always surprised you'd work for the door and take all the risk. You see that? So, and dude, that show has grown into this like huge multi-leveled balconied theater / drinking establishment. And there had to have been close to 1,000 people in this place in Champaign. It's amazing. I mean, you did that. It was like 2005.
Yeah, it was a long ass time ago. But I remember having a blast because he did that. There was like during the day, it was like that family thing, and that's what I was doing. But then after my set, the first day, he was like, you should come and do, he goes, the nighttime thing is awesome. Like, so like he had me come out and do the nighttime deal. And so I could have the handcuffs taken off of me.
Yeah.
And I had a blast and I partied with him all night and he was cool as shit. I just remember him. I remember him saying something. I don't know. I remember going out on stage at the nighttime thing and saying something about like he was always kind of like this man. He's kind of like manly sex symbol about it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like
yeah. And so like I went out and I said something about like, come on, man, you're a hairdresser named Rod. Like, let's not make this into something that it isn't. Or whatever, like I said something along those lines. Fucking
I don't want you banging a porn star next to her husband tonight.
Yeah. That sounds like a Rod Sickler thing to do.
I don't know about that, but I got drunk post performance because my birthday. So bonus, yeah, and we Ubered. And they paid, and the hotel was sweet. All of that. It was a great gig. My son went with me, and we set off the Urbana Fire Department had to come to the hotel to put out they didn't have to put anything out. They just had to turn off the alarm that was set off from us cooking bacon in the little kitchen in the hotel.
Yeah. I set an alarm off vaping one time.
Anyway.
I was vaping in my hotel room. And it set off the smoke alarm, so I had to call the front desk and have them come in and turn off. And I'm like, I'm not smoking, I'm not doing it, so I hide because it doesn't stink in there like you're smoking cigarettes or anything, so they're not going to come in and think that you actually were smoking in there or something.
Right.
So I'm just, I don't know, it just went off. I don't know.
You sent me this stripper fire department stripper fireman for my birthday. I'm reading some of these comments that come through. Oh, you're like, I was like, I don't know what happened. No, I told them the truth.
Oh, she's talking about when your shit went off.
Yeah. She thought the firemen were there for.
I'm sexy and I know it. I'm sexy and.
And then you'll love this, Billy. I ended that show too that week with the whole the stripper bit. Remember when I used to do the stripper
bit? Tom Jones thing?
Yeah. I did like a version of that.
Did you have the Sharpie abs?
Yeah, that was the part I was missing because I should have totally done that, but that was the part that would have sold the whole thing. We were waiting in the runway to go on stage, and we get this note, and like we have everything sort of like you got to do 12 minutes, and there's both of us on stage together, so it's a comedy team, which you don't see very much these days. You know what I mean? And so we had to have everything really kind of dialed in, like I'll say this and you say that, but we also don't want to be too scripted because we
it's got to look authentic. Yeah,
that dude should come back. If you want to see a kick-ass beard and hear some cool stories, we got to bring Josh back in. But
you want me to bring him back in?
So we get so we don't want to sound too scripted. We got to tighten. Rod was like, he goes, can you tell Jared and Katrina to use the runway a little bit more this time instead of staying up on the stage? So like we're gonna do stand up, like pacing up and down the runway like a model. I was like, yeah, just tell Rod we will. So we do our set like we normally would, but I'm like, I'll use the fucking runway. And so then I go, DJ Bob Bates, hit me some kick-ass sex music or something like this, and like he puts on some club, yeah. And I just start. Half the crowd is cheering, half the crowd is booing. I'm swinging my shirt around and
what's new, pussycat? Ooh.
Yeah, all that.
I love it.
And that was my last show. And then that was it. And then they went boom, shut down. You know?
Oh, that's fucking great.
I was like, how crazy is that? It was like everything had just come full circle, you know? I do stand-up, 12-minute set, working with one of my favorite show partners ever. And then
you just go all the way back.
I went all the way back to like beginning. And then 2 weeks later, bye-bye.
I died.
How symbolic.
Back in the day when there was porn going on across from the stage at Chelsea Place Trophy Compound. What?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I had this show. You've done those where they leave the screens on? Oh, someone's watching the game. It's two guys playing catch. You know.
They're watching the cornhole championships on the Ocho.
All right. Good night, Katrina. We love you.
Good night, Katrina. I know of you, and I probably would love you.
Yeah, so I did the show. This place is like, well, we got you booked for this gig, and the way he made the venue sound, it sounded like it was a bar.
Yeah,
it's called Schulte's Compound. And I was like, all right. So this whole time I'm making these jokes like, oh, a compound, like, like is the FBI gonna raid the place? Are we gonna get ambushed by the ATF? Are they gonna send smoke grenades in? Blah blah blah. And I go in there and I drive. So I'm driving to Janesville, Wisconsin, and I've got the address. And I'm driving up and down the street, and I cannot find a bar. Turns out it's just this dude's house, and he just turned his garage into this private, friends only. Like if you just turned your basement or your garage,
a fucking awesome party is what he did.
Yeah, and stacked like 60 people into a place that could hold 30. And I had one of my best work. Right? It was a fantastic crowd. I did 90 minutes, almost pure improv. And that's what he's talking about, is they had on the screen right here, so I'm Chelsea's Place Trophy. Yeah, I think he means Schulte's. I bet this dude is using text to speech comments. So I look up and they go, so I look up at the screen and they've got full on retro 1970s pube fro on the big screen. Straight up. Yeah. Like straight up, no holds barred. Like not Skinamax.
Like for real, like triple X shit.
Whatever whatever VHS tape somebody had rounded up from the
Double
truck stop.
penetration. Hey, remember when I bought you that porn called Granny's Gangbang for your birthday?
Well, I tried not to, but now that you brought up, yes. No, when did you do that?
I thought
You'd be like one of 10 people that have done that for me, by the way.
I did it first. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Because I was like fucking 21 or 22 years old when I did that.
Right on.
I'm just saying, Grant. I'm sorry, I fucked your story up. Keep going.
No, that was the story. That was it. That was just that. Usually you look up, it's like they've got the movie on, they've got the game on. They go, oh, look up full on bachelor party porn.
So did you ever give a shit about rap music at all? Like, did you ever get into rap at all? Like Tupac, like back in the 90s?
Not get into it, but I don't avoid it either. Like, I actually like it. When I listen to it, I think I see a lot of parallels between rap and stand-up.
Oh my God, something terrible. That's why I love.
Yeah, one of my favorite movies is 8 Mile. But I don't know if that qualifies me.
Oh, dude.
Go ahead.
No, 8 Mile's great because it is a great parallel. It is.
No, I love that very last scene where he just tells all the insults on himself, and it's like, now what do you got?
Dude, 8 Mile is the fucking inspiration for my license plate. Like, you've heard, the explanation behind my license plate, right?
No.
Okay, so
I have not heard.
You know how big of a Hawkeye fan I am, obviously, right? So,
yes.
I mean, you've witnessed me watching an Iowa basketball game. I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, right.
So, yes, I agree. You are an idiot. But anyway, so Iowa State fans, when it comes to like the shit talking between Iowa and Iowa State fans, Iowa State fans, like, one of their big things is they always say, well, most Iowa State fans actually went to the school. Like, you're just an Iowa fan because you grew up as an Iowa fan. You never even went there. You never,
Okay.
Basically insinuating that all Iowa State fans are more educated than all Iowa fans is what they're trying to say all the time.
Yeah, and I can totally believe that.
Yeah.
I live in Ames.
Yes. And so that's like fucking dude. So what they always say, one of their biggest insults is they're like, oh, fucking Hawkeye fan bought a shirt at Walmart and blah, 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 blah. Basically saying that we're all fucking uneducated idiots that work fucking jobs that idiots fucking work, and we shop at Walmart, and so we bought our Iowa shirt at fucking Walmart, right? Which is really stupid because, like, oh, I'm an idiot because I paid $10 for my t-shirt and you paid 30 at the fucking bookstore because you went there like a fucking moron. You're the moron.
Yeah, I can guarantee you go to either of the two Walmarts in Ames, you're going to see tons of personalized license plates that are red and yellow.
Yes, exactly.
Guaranteed. So, right now, go to either of the two Walmarts in, if they're still open. I don't know if they're still open this late.
And so that's their thing, is they call us all Walmart fans.
Yeah. Oh, I got you. Yeah. Yeah.
So I got a personalized Iowa Hawkeye license plate that says Walmart fan on it.
Good night, Tiffany. Oh, right. Did you get the Hawkeye one? The yellow?
Yeah, I got the Hawkeye fucking plate. It says I removed the vowels because you can only have, I think, 7 letters.
Sure, so you put
so it's It's WLMT or no WLMRTFN.
Right on.
And that's me just 8 miling those motherfuckers. Like what?
Right.
Yeah, I am a Walmart fan. Like I actually wrote this big long thing about it. Like I put it up on Facebook with a picture of the license plate. And it was last year, right? Like the week of the Iowa State game. And so I put all that up and I wrote this big long thing about how I grew up going to my grandparents were season ticket holders. So in my neighborhood, I was like a fucking rock star because I got to actually go to real life Iowa football games. And my grandparents sat in the front row on the 10-yard line. And I went to at least 1 or 2 games a year from the time I was like 7 years old up through high school. And then in high school, I started going on my own. And then in my 20s, I bought my own tickets and I still have them to this day. So like, but my grandpa never went to college, but my grandpa owns his own business. And at that time was a fucking member at Hyperion Country Club, drove a Cadillac. He owns a pallet. He owns Hawkeye Pallet Company, and they build pallets and they put them on trucks and they deliver them to warehouses and shit and factories and whatever, you know. No one involved in that whole situation has a college education. But are you going to tell me that my grandfather doesn't bring as much value to the world as a fucking engineer does?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, and my friends that I have been tailgating with in Iowa City for 20 fucking years that I grew up with, went to high school with, I mean, people all over the place that I've been tailgating with and stuff for all this time, every one of them is a fucking Walmart fan, you know? So I'm like, well, guess what? My one friend that I tailgate with installed your air conditioner. The other one fucking framed your house. The other one delivered oxygen to your dying grandmother. The other one did this. None of them have a fucking college education. So fuck you. Like, yeah, I'm a Walmart. That's me. What are you going to say now?
You know, and this, yeah. And they can't. And there is nothing because you roasted yourself. Their worst roast you already did on you.
And I'm driving around the city of Des Moines with it every fucking day.
Loud and proud, owning it. Yeah.
Brenda asked, well, there are clubs doing like social distancing type environments, and most of them are just bringing in famous people so they can sell those tickets for a lot of money and kind of rationalize even being open at all.
Right.
I saw her ask earlier about Jackson, Tennessee. Do you know Brenda? Did you do that? They had that club, like that little weekend club in Jackson, Tennessee. I remember that. I did it.
I did it many times.
So that she's probably one of your people.
Could be. Well, a guy named Harvey used to.
Harvey, yeah, Harvey was cool as shit.
He was like a radio guy, and he emceed it, and he was really funny, and it was a real cool place. It was retro in nature, and
I remember a guy fucking coming in. I remember Harvey when I was there. Harvey fucking pulled a gun on somebody.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he had like or no, it wasn't Harvey. I'm sorry, it wasn't Harvey. Oh fuck, I'm sorry. No, it wasn't Harvey. It was someone else that worked there. Like Harvey's like right hand man or something. Like there was someone else there, like a security type guy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, he had like somebody came in. Man, I think somebody came in and tried to take the cash register.
Well, that would warrant the security guy pulling a fucking gun on
I think that's what it was, man. I wish I could talk.
I had in my mind that Harvey. Then when you first said this, the thing that popped into my mind was like maybe after a show, someone tried to start shit with Harvey, and he was like, "Oh yeah,
oh yeah."
I'm gonna say that." Yeah. Like that's kind of like the whole synopsis that played out in my head in that split second. And I was like, what?
The way I put it, like a fucking asshole.
There's an attempted robbery, and the security guy.
Yeah, like I just gave you a headline to click on, but the story sucks.
But still an attempted robbery.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. It's all kind of, dude. It was so long ago.
Yeah.
But I think that's what happened. Because they had that, like, there was kind of a balcony thing going on up above us, kind of around in that place.
Hey guys, yeah, it's very retro, and that's what I like.
Yeah.
I love those places that have been around forever, and there's still cobwebs from the '60s that are hanging in the chandeliers and in the rafters. I love those places so much. You know, like there's a place in the Treehouse in Bloomington is like that. And there are places where like you would name it, you'd be like, oh, that place sucks. It's like, yeah, it kind of does, but it's been here for 70 years. There's this place in Leadville, Colorado, where my cousins live there, and we were passing through, and I booked a show there, and it's a legit Wild West bar that's been around since like Bill Hickok times. Bullet holes in the wood paneling, photos of like the late 1800s saloon girls and the upstairs whores and the madam. Like they legit have like those old timey sort of printed on a almost like a piece of metal. That's like what photos were way back then. That wasn't like a piece of paper,
right?
Sort of like a weird carbonite type paper.
Yeah,
they have that stuff as part of legit Wild West artifact decor. I love place of performance. It's like that reminds me of maybe the troop rolled around in Tombstone times and the bad guy shot the juggling pins out of it. You know what I mean? Like what maybe Harry
I'd take the deal and cross draw and shoot that old devil in the ass.
Yeah, right. And when I do like the Treehouse in Bloomington, it's like Rodney Dangerfield might have performed here. Richard Pryor very well might have performed there, you know. And I like those places that have that kind of history. The Comedy Store. Have you ever been to the Comedy Store in LA? You look up and they've still got like probably the coffee can that they originally used to put over the light that was just a light bulb back in the 70s, and it's still hanging over the stage. And it's just like the history is it's palpable in those places. Hang on. So, Dennis, go to Clinton this weekend. Clinton, Wisconsin this weekend. It's Jared Dog's retirement show. Clinton at the Lot.
Oh my God, you're fucking Ozzy
Osbourne. The Lightning Outdoor Theater this Saturday, September 19th. Dennis, get your butt to Clinton. Dude, 7 o'clock show.
No, you're fucking. I don't give a shit what you say at this point. You are fucking Ozzy Osbourne. You're gonna do 700 retirement tours from this point on. Like as soon as you just use that word retirement, you just fucked yourself. Now you have to do 30 retirement tours for the rest of your life.
Bill, shut up.
Dude, we both know. We both know this is a fucking addiction, dude. This is something we are comedy. We are addicted to comedy like people are addicted to fucking heroin, and people don't fucking understand. Like every time in 20 plus years at this point, every time I've started to shift directions and say to myself, man, this isn't happening. Like I need to. What's going on? I don't have any shows lined up. I got to bring some money in. What am I going to do? Blah, blah, blah. And I'll start applying for jobs or something or sending resumes. Right. And then somebody will fucking call me. Like I just got a call the other day today from a staffing agency not like a temp agency, but a staffing agency that is like companies pay to find them people. You know what I mean? So they called me today about this fucking job that's going to pay $65,000 a year.
Right.
And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, well, I could easily bullshit my way into getting that job. I don't know how long I'd keep it because they'd probably figure out I didn't give a fuck pretty soon, or you know what I mean? Like, and so I just start approaching that. And then all of a sudden somebody calls me for a gig, and then somebody schedules another gig. It's like every single fucking time I'm like, okay, it's time to just go.
Mm-hmm.
Opportunities start coming in, and then I have to fucking make a decision, because a company that's going to pay me $65,000 a year is going to require that they are the most important thing.
That's right. Well, and your comedy career is going to require that it is the most important.
Exactly. And so you just get torn in those moments. But like I said, every single time it starts coming.
I'm just trying to imagine, though. I mean, I feel what you're saying 100%. I'm just trying to imagine, though, how much now has to change culturally in order for a full-time comedy tour to actually be
possible,
even be practical.
Yeah, practical, much less possible. Yeah, I got you.
I mean, how much has to change?
How much has to change as far as like the way life is right this second?
Right. And so what does a post-COVID comedy tour actually look like? And that takes such an immense amount of imagination for me that my brain gets fried.
I think you're overthinking it. I think that people are so fucking jacked to just get the fuck out of the house.
Agreed. There's definitely,
and it's not even about just getting out of the house. It's about getting out of the house and being carefree and not worrying about being judged.
Agreed.
Bill's absolutely.
Here comes Josh. Here he comes. You wanted to bring him on. No, you wanted to bring him on.
I don't mean to.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're back.
What I'm trying to say is that I think that both of us are in this fucking dark place right now where everything seems apocalyptic.
Yeah.
But if you just chill the fuck out for a second and look back at history and look at like the Spanish flu and all that stuff, it's just this has been going on for so long.
And what was stand up like during the Spanish flu?
Basically, stand up was during the Spanish flu.
Was vaudeville?
What they did was to combat, in order to social distance during the Spanish flu. They made silent movies because they were afraid that if they talked out loud, it would spread. But it was the same principle. It was, we're all in this together. Everybody shut the fuck up and just ding, 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 and then they fucking, oh my God, there's a damsel in distress.
Right.
Dude, they literally were closed captioning back then.
Yeah, that's right. They were in the inventors of that shit. The closed captioning. And then the talkies came out and it fucked over deaf people for the next 70 years.
It fucked over deaf people.
They didn't want to hear that stupid piano song anyway. They just needed to see the
And it was so long ago, the speakers weren't big enough for them to lean against and just feel the music.
right. No, the speakers back then were those giant like megaphone cone things.
Um,
like a trombone bell.
oh yeah, the thingy, the thing that Cliff Huxtable's dad had.
The phonograph that, and
Yeah.
you know, the long cone speaker. Those were the speakers back then.
Oh yeah, the thing. Oh yeah, when everybody
Well,
all the best performers just memorize their lines and spit them out the fastest. They'd be like, they'd be like, hey, listen here, you silly dame. Just because I flashed you one of my better smiles doesn't mean you get to hang out with me. See, like,
right.
fucking. But my point is, I think that we're both kind of, I think we're both just being a little bit impatient and maybe a little more irrational than we would like to admit. I think that at some point, dude, it's either the world ends or everything goes back to normal. I mean, there's no real in between there. So like, I think at some point this shit's going to run its course and people are going to fucking go out and pack venues again. I mean, we just gotta hang in there and do what we got to do up until that point. If that means I got to fucking work a 40-hour a week normal job for a year, then so what?
It's happening now. I mean, I look at JP Sears, which he's already touring back on. He's got venues booked. It's going to be the avant-garde. It's going to be, how do you make it happen? And who's going to do it with the right venue, making sure that, you know, it is still compliant, but it's being done. So it's going to be the push to the people that really want to make it happen. And you're asking how? Well, who's going to be bold enough to just continue to make people laugh? And I think that's going to be the avant-garde. That's going to be the people as yourselves to figure it out, because it is happening, and we want to laugh, and we want to hear from, you know, yourselves. Me personally, I'm ready. I know there's a lot of other people that need it because it's healing. It's goodness that you bring to the table. And how does it happen? I don't have the answer, but I see it. I mean, it's being done. Maybe it's a wider venue and it's spread out, and there's a right way to do it. And it's talking with the venues, and it's talking with the right leadership, and it's, doing it the best we can, but we're going to get back to it. And that's, I don't have the answer, but it's happening.
He's got half the answer because half his face is on the screen right now. No, but Josh is one of my favorite people because, and we talked about this while he was upstairs and he didn't hear me, but he's just a highly intelligent person that doesn't fucking make you feel like an asshole when you talk to him. And it's
right on.
I think it's a unique quality amongst highly intelligent people when they can interact with anybody. And that's one of the reasons I always enjoyed stand-up as a career, because it didn't matter how much money I made. What I did on stage could be respected by doctors and lawyers and CEOs, and at the same time, forklift drivers and restaurant workers. And I would get that respect from all of those people just because they know that I'm doing something they can't do. And that's it. Has nothing to do with money. None of that. But because I'm doing something they know they can't do, the assumption is made that I make a bunch of money, because that is what success means to most people in a capitalistic society.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I would constantly, I mean, and we've talked about this before. We have one of the few jobs people are comfortable asking us how much money we make. And it's weird, you know? And my answer to that is always, I make a middle class to lower middle class fucking income. And the trade-off is that I get to be happy doing what I'm doing every day, no matter what that is. You know, even if I fucking play Grand Theft Auto for fucking 12 hours one day, I got a whole weekend of fucking gigs. Who gives a shit? You know, like whatever. It just comes down to living life on your terms.
Being free. And I think comedians have a lot of freedom with the platform and with making people happy, and the healing that they bring with the words and the platform is a necessity, especially now. And the how, that's the big question you asked.
That is the big question. It's the all the logistics and the infinite number of variables that we're faced with. If it was, hey, how do I get my local club up and going? I could take on a challenge like that because it's local. You're subject to the, but when you're a national touring guy, you're subject to every different changing dynamic in all 50 states.
Yeah, and if you're not famous, it's even worse.
So let's say you've got investment or leverage into your tour, and now your dates get pulled because you live in a town where COVID ran rampant through the colleges. So they just go, oh, shut down. And now what do I do with a merchandise bill that's due in 30 days that can't be paid because I got no audience to sell merchandise to? Now, that's not going to afford very much gas to get to the next gig, even if you're only doing it for love of the game. That's barely going to get you out of the hole if you do go get that 40-hour-a-week job.
Yeah.
And that's the dynamic we're looking at as touring comedians, which is what I was. So if it's going to go be local business, then you got to go full tilt on that. Just like we talked about earlier, you can't be half your toe in one pool and half your other toe in the other pool and make anything really work. You got to go full tilt in anything you do. And in my estimation, that actually is how you live life according to your own terms, is you have to be full tilt.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
you have to structure your life around it.
You have to
Like
structure
that,
your life.
back before I got married for the second time, that's what I was doing. I eliminated everything.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Every responsibility I could possibly have outside of paying my child support, I fucking eliminated from my life. So that no matter what, all I had to do was tell jokes, and that was it.
Yeah, smart.
So if that meant that dude, for fucking 3 years, I was able to get by on $600 a month if I had to.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to. And that's what I did. I structured my life around being able to do stand-up and nothing else.
Yep.
But then, I got married. I took on 2 more kids, and it became a situation where now I had to bring more monetary value to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happens when
and now it's a matter of age too, because it's like, when I was 25, sleeping in my car in a rest area on the way to
Wasn't
a
a big
gig
deal.
seemed romantic.
Who gives a shit?
Now I can barely stay up till midnight.
Now it feels
and do
like
a
losing.
podcast. Yeah, it's like, ugh.
And that was the thing. Like,
And I was like,
You know,
Billy's texting me. I've got literally the most interesting man in the world with me. And I'm like, this motherfucker actually better be the most interesting man in the world, or I'm right the hell on out of here. Like that kind of hype.
you committed to Tuesdays yesterday, you motherfucker.
I know, but still, I'm saying, like,
Exactly.
yeah,
Jeff
if you
Pimpton.
keep it strictly local, you have to churn out new material in a constant basis for the comics who are unable to do an hour work in the room. And that's true. Like, I can do an hour work in the room. I can churn out new material on a constant basis. That's what you got to do if you're going to be on the radio every single week, which, by the way, I will be September 29th. The Eagle 97.1, Rockford, Illinois. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Everything that rocks.
But
This
you
is
got to
a
come up with material.
kick-ass radio station.
And now if you're doing that, you might as well do something like what we're doing, our podcast. You might as well do something that can reach a global audience instead of just your 50-seater in your hometown.
Well, what you should be doing,
Everybody's wearing masks,
doing-
sitting on tables with glass dividers.
well, what you do is if you're going to keep it local, if you're lucky enough to have a home club, like I've got the Funny Bone here in Des Moines that I can work anytime I want. And I don't have to churn out an hour. I can just MC the shows.
Right.
So that means I can do 4 different 15-minute sets for 4 weeks.
Yep.
Now, if I'm saying to myself, I got a headline every fucking night. Well, first of all, I'd be a fucking arrogant idiot if I even tried that. But also, like, it's impossible. You're not gonna churn out a new hour every fucking week or two. But if the clubs are open full-fledged, I can go MC a week whenever I want. I can make a decent amount of money. And, if that means I got to take a day job for a year and then the clubs start gradually getting back together, I can go supplement my income with my local club. Yep. Now I got to do 15 minutes of time. And also I'm hosting, so I don't have to carry the fucking show. I can take chances and I can actually suck and not get fired. And it's fine.
You can take the not laugh. But I like what Josh said a second ago. Like, there is definitely a pent up demand.
I've been thinking about open spaces as I've been listening and just creatively thinking about possibilities of how.
Yeah.
Being on my travel, there's a lot of free open spaces. Des Moines, you have an art park. You've got a lot of parks out there. You have college campuses. You Venmo your number, your whatever. You've got your way to draw away. If you have a following or if you're buskering in whatever park and you start jokes and you have a crowd, or you have a little bit of people that you say, hey, I'm going to be here. And
you're a comedy food truck.
Right. You're the traveler
right.
is going around the country, and you're creating your own spaces with the way that you market it yourself. It becomes a whole new world of how you're going to entertain, and people are there and they're craving it. So if they're already at these places and they're spread out, well, how are they going to really stop you? And as far as the payment, well, that's where it becomes creative. And again, there's a lot of, mobile pay app. There's a lot of Cash App. There's a lot of, I think, creative way. And it's going to be a whole new way of potentially putting yourself out, not normal to what is known, but creating your own space and platform. You already know your material, and it's to try. I mean, maybe it's a new way to test your material too. And it requires a little bit of thinking. But there's a lot of, I think, free venue and potential planning ahead. But there's a way, is my thought. And there's a need and there's a demand.
Yeah.
absolutely right now. And you have, I mean, all this material and time to think about writing new material, and then to get the feedback. That's the hard part. Like I've heard Bill talk about, you don't have a live audience. You don't have that live sounding board to the laugh, or is this working? Is it not working? And you need to have a live audience. But okay, so test your new material out in the places where the people are. And where are the people that are in open spaces? We'll find those places because we're getting out, we're doing more, because we don't want to be cooped up. We're done being cooped up because that's not healthy, being cooped up.
There's no human fucking
Right.
contact. And
Right.
Jaredog, this is honestly where you thrive.
Mm-hmm.
This is your fucking
Yeah,
wheelhouse.
That's what I'm getting at is the outdoor shows, the open space shows, figuring those logistics out.
The Burning Man show of comedy, the Woodstock of comedy, where you have the art element, you have the comedy element, and I've seen that it's there.
When it comes to the performance aspect of it, is what I'm saying, that I don't know that the drive is in me so much to be the performer that I'm willing to go through all that. But as the promoter slash host slash coordinator that can put on other talented guys who do have that drive, the need for me, it's an addiction, but that addiction for me, like it's also like a heroin junkie where it quits working. The heroin eventually quits working. That
Yeah, you
happened.
need to get bigger. You need to go higher. You need to, it's not enough anymore.
2010, I died inside.
Yeah. Yep.
But that's also when the don't give a fuck attitude emerged, and that's when I started like.
Which also made you make more money, right? As soon as you stopped giving a fuck, you made more money.
Made more money, made you a better comedian. All of that's then sort of happened. But like I'm much more fascinated and interested and motivated by discovering new people, just putting on new hungry talent, helping the up and comers, being the coach, like what you mentioned, not the cheesy life coach, but maybe some sort, and not the comedy coach that teaches you the rule of threes.
No, comedy life coach.
Like,
that's what you could be.
Like what a legit manager would be.
Should be able to do.
Right, exactly. Like a legit, but without that cheesy checkered jacket manager.
I will give you a perfect fucking comparison to that. So you go in and work for a company, right? Let's use a warehouse for an example, because that's my background since I was a kid, right? So you work in a warehouse. You're a forklift driver, a guy that pulls orders every day. That's what you do every day, and you've been doing it for 10 fucking years, right? And you've made $16 an hour, got some overtime. Maybe you're up around to 18, $19 an hour at this point, and you feel like that's good money. Mm-hmm. And then they bring in a fucking new middle manager guy that's in charge of you, making 50 grand a year, but he can't do your job. Like,
right.
If you just made him go out on the floor and drive a forklift and pull orders and do all that shit and didn't say shit to him, he couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. He would need that $18 an hour guy to guide him through the process.
Right.
The fucking guy that's in charge should be able to do every single job that the people he's in charge of are doing. Mm-hmm. So like me, for example, when I was in charge of all these warehouse people, I had forklift drivers. I had people that were repacking stuff. I had CSRs that I was in charge of, all that. 25 people, 3 shifts. I had to be able to do every single person's job, or I'm not worthy of being in charge of them. But in most companies, they just bring in a manager who has leadership experience in
and
whatever
organized.
field. Doesn't matter. They're they've been in management for 10 years. So you give them the job of managing all this stuff that they know nothing about. And you expect all those people to respect them somehow.
Right. It's like in Glengarry Glen Ross when nobody respects Kevin
that's
Spacey
so great.
because he's never been out on a sit. And they're like, and at the end of it, he ruins the sale for Ed Harris or whoever, and Al Pacino chews him out. And it's like, you would know the number one rule if you'd ever actually closed a deal in your life, and that's keep your mouth shut unless you know what the deal is. And like, none of them respect Kevin Spacey because he's just that office manager dishing out the leads, lecturing them about how they need to be better salesmen. And they all hate him.
Yeah, and the reason they all hate him is because of the reason they all hate him. The reason they all hate him is because Alec Baldwin showed up and said, "Coffee's for closers, you fucking pussy."
That's right.
Dude, I love that movie.
I do too so much.
I hadn't seen it, dude. I had never seen it until I was like, I was in my late 30s. And do you remember? You may remember this because you grew up in Iowa. Do you remember Pat McManus doing the anti-drug? You remember Pat McManus fucking just say no and go? He'd show up at the schools and tell everybody to say no to drugs and shit.
Yep.
So I became friends with him. And I was going through like all kinds of shit. And he goes, "Have you ever seen Glen Ross?" And I'm like, "No." I hadn't even heard the title. I didn't even know what the fuck he was talking about. And so he pulls the fucking Alec Baldwin scene up on YouTube. Oh, good. Stay here. We're going to get you back in. Don't worry.
I was getting another drink.
Are you getting? Oh, okay. Go ahead. So
somebody asked me if I've seen Glengarry Glen Ross. At first, I thought they meant The Great Gatsby. I was like, "Oh, yeah, I read that in high school." I was like, "Wait, what did I?" They're like, "What?" I was like, "What did I read? What?"
Yeah. And so I'm sitting there with Pat, and he's such a different dude than you'd think he would be, and he's phenomenal. I fucking love the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sitting there and I'm telling him, I'm giving him all my self-doubt and my self-loathing and my fear of failure and all the stuff. And I'm just like, man. And he pulls up that clip of Alec Baldwin, the Coffee's for Closers fucking speech.
Yes.
And so we watch it. Nobody says a word while we're watching it. And so when it's over, he fucking takes it off the computer and he just looks at me and he goes, "Hey, make some phone calls, you fucking pussy." Like, he's like, "What are you doing? Stop fucking crying to me about all this bullshit. Do something about it, you fucking pussy."
Yep, that's right.
And so I did, and I progressed. But I do sometimes feel like we were talking about that comedy life coach stuff, earlier in the last episode and everything.
Yeah.
And I told you earlier, before we went live, I was telling you about how ever since I said that, I've been thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I literally have thought about like, man, I should just have Dog fucking call me at like 8 o'clock every morning and be like, "Are you out of bed yet? Did you make your bed? What the fuck are you doing?" Like, "Hey, how'd you spend your last half hour?" I was playing Grand Theft Auto." "Well, what the fuck? What's wrong with you? How is that? How is that helping you at all? What's that doing for you?" And I can tell you what it's doing for me right now. It fucking lets me
Get your ass
concentrate.
out of bed, boy.
Right now, dude, it just lets me concentrate on something besides how fucking sad and depressed I am.
Yeah.
Like, I can just fucking play this video game and roll around and shoot motherfuckers and
Yeah.
buy hookers and just
Yeah.
not
You're getting those dopamine rushes that.
it's
You
not even
play-
so much dopamine rushes as it
You need
is
to-
passing the time.
Mhm.
It's like if I spend an entire day by myself, no one around me, no conversations to be had, like no nothing, my mind goes into this very dark place and it stays there. So like for me, if I can just play a video game or something like that on some level that all I'm doing is concentrating on winning that game or doing whatever the fuck in that game instead of my life. I don't know. It's like for 6 hours, I don't venture into places where I want to blow my head off. I can blow other people's heads off.
What kind of conversation I just walked
It's just
Well, I don't think that's how you want to blow people's heads off.
so
No.
Sean Carpenter, are you still up there, buddy? Are you still there, man?
Be a truck. Well, that'll get you out and about.
Yeah, this kid right here, man. I fucking love him. His dad Mike was the chef at the Funny Bone. When the Funny Bone moved from Urbandale to West Des Moines,
Yeah.
you know, you remember when it was in Urbandale and it had the blue wall and just a fryer and servers, like
Oh yeah.
chicken wings and nachos, and that was about it.
Yeah.
And then all the Funny Bones and Improv started going to like a full menu. You know, it was like everybody goes and eats dinner somewhere else and then comes to the show. How about they do all of it here? You know, that kind of deal. So once the club moved out to West Des Moines, they had to have a kitchen manager, chef or whatever, and that was Sean's dad. And
cool.
Yeah, he was one of the fucking he died I feel like it was about 2 years ago. And he was just one of the most amazing people. Back in the day, my golf clubs and shit got stolen out of my car in my driveway. Like over a decade ago. And Mike gave me his golf clubs and his golf shoes because he just didn't really play anymore. And just said, hey, come to my house. And I went and he gave me all the stuff. I got married to my current ex-wife at the Funny Bone. And Mike cooked for the entire crowd. The entire crowd of my wedding.
Yeah.
But Mike cooked all the food for free, cooked my wife and I steak dinners on top of it, and just for nothing did it because he loved us. And
right on.
he was just a fucking tremendous guy. So I just wanted to recognize that Sean was jumping in here and how much I loved his dad.
Oh, cool.
But so so Josh,
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
did you ever smell any napalm? No napalm. That's outdated.
I can't say I've made it, but wow.
Yeah. Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
You made napalm? Did you do the orange juice?
No,
and
he
gas
said, I
mask?
can't say that I've made it, but I know how.
I can only imagine.
Not at the table, Carlos.
Or a cup of coffee and, you know,
Death.
whiskey, cigar.
I can't imagine what it smells like if you're standing next to Robert Duvall.
All right, man. Woo! On that note,
I can't.
Anything
Oh,
else?
so we gotta. While we got Josh sitting here, we gotta ask him.
yeah.
So here's what. So Josh graduates high school, joins the Navy, goes to the Navy, pays for college, gets out of college as an officer in the Navy, goes through, you know, whatever, and then eventually ends up right like as a contractor.
Where I am now, I think what Bill is saying is I'm a free man. I'm a traveler. 9 years.
No, now, but I'm talking about like what
I did.
Yeah, what you did. Like,
So quick to who I am. Military, 6 years as an officer in the Navy. Got out, did contracting for about the same amount of time. Iraq, Afghanistan, managing people and resources.
Not Blackwater though, right?
No, not security. A lot of great friends. Love. I mean, because that's a lot of military that's there. So my heart is with that company, Eric Prince, etc. Whatever. But who I am after getting out of the contracting realm, and again, comedy overseas is essential. Like with USO, military, etc. Awesome. Like there's so much hard and real over in, and even now, like I mean, laughter just really creates that levity, which I'm preaching to the choir. You guys know that, but from the other side, the appreciation for all that does not understand what it's like to stand up. And I'm one of those people that I can't do what you do to stand up in front of the audience and entertain. No, but to laugh, to need the desire is there, to receive the laugh. And what you have is your writing styles and all of what you do and your creativity. It's needed. And that's what I would say. I'm here to say, please, you know, bring all the creativity to the world, because you are the doctors of laughter, the healers of life. And it's needed all around the world. Obviously, to laugh is to live and to enjoy life. It's hard. We know that.
Yep,
we all go
for
through
sure.
the mountains, and to bring some, you know, just lighthearted love. That's your work, and I appreciate, you know, so much with all the comedians that give their style and their originality, their creativity, to solve problems, to connect. That's what you do. I don't do that. I'm a laugher. I'm the one that
now
enjoy. I am a more serious individual because I've just been in the hard for a long time,
Right.
and grind and to work as we all do. But my hat's off, you know, to you guys for what you do, for like creating this show right now. To be here in Bill's home is, that's why I came here tonight, to be able to just enjoy a quick moment with him, and to meet you and everybody that's on. Big love, massive love. But as a traveler in life, that's where I'm at now. To see the world, to see the backyard of the United States, but beyond that, there's so much goodness even in this time frame of connection, and there's a lot of shit too. But the comedy world, I see it as doctors of healing through laughter, and you are the doctors that are needed probably the most right now. And how that works, you hit on it. That needs to be pushed as the challenge of how. And I don't have this, the solution, but to really creatively think of open spaces, the food trucks of laughter, the truck drivers of laughter,
which is what we've always been anyway.
Yeah. It's just we're taking it and putting it into a different box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Woodstocks of the new laughter, and to come into what was known, I think will reoccur. But that's the challenge back to you as comedians, to be creative, to push the boundary, for the enforcers of, if you have to wear a mask or to comply, great. We want to be healthy.
Yeah, whatever. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. Laughter is healthy. That's number one. The space.
Who cares what the space is?
Well, who cares? But we there are people that do care, and that's what's stopping a lot of it, is that we can't be close, but we can, but we can't, and all of
that's what it is. You can, but you can't.
Yeah, the rules change every fucking day.
You can, but you can't.
That I know is that laughter is necessary, and you are the doctors of it. And how do we do it? It's to push those boundaries back to making it happen. And how do you make money doing that? There's entrepreneurial ways, I believe, that can be done. And that is it's going to be the bold that does it now, or it's going to be going back into the community to make those connections with the right, influencers, and in a way that it comes back. I believe it's happening. We can look at, certain examples of the artists that are doing it and how they're doing it, that are pushing, back to go, hey, we're needed. We're all going to die eventually. Let's laugh. Let's love. Let's create life. This
is coming from a guy, by the way, and this is why I love him, because he won't toot his own horn. But this is coming from a guy that has basically been retired since he was 30. No, I know, but I don't want to just let me fucking toot your horn for you for a minute. Just let me do that. Just let me.
Your horn for you.
Because that's been one of my biggest struggles in my career is I don't feel comfortable tooting my own horn, and you have to fucking do that. You have to. It's our Midwestern upbringing, Jared Dog. We've talked about this many times. Our humble Midwestern upbringing makes us feel like
small town no one's ever heard of.
Yeah. It makes us feel like we can't tell people how great we are, because if you do that, you're a braggart or you're some kind of fucking asshole, But then you look out amongst the most successful comics monetarily, they were the ones that faked it till they made it. They just fucking acted like they're the greatest thing since sliced bread everywhere they went. And they were perfectly comfortable doing that, and they didn't give a fuck. And guys like us, we didn't want to walk into a fucking small town bar and act like we were better than everybody else. That was the last thing we could do to have a good show. But these motherfuckers didn't care,
Right.
but and that's why, like, you know, I'm not, the thing about Josh's life is I'm not jealous of it. Like, I'm not, there's no, like, there's nothing there where I'm like, man, I wish that was my life. But it's also a thing where I'm like, man, that's fucking awesome. Like the way you did things, the way you decided what your path was, and you just fucking did it. That's so badass. And it just so happened that what you did was you enabled yourself to retire basically when you were 30. That's fucking amazing to me. And only someone who operates on a completely different level than most of humanity could make that happen.
And much respect for what Bill is saying, and I do appreciate and that. But the platform, I feel that the comedians have, Bill's talent, your talent, and all the other comedians' talents out there. Use your platform, especially right now. I think it's so critical for the true laughter of love and bringing people together when it's really hard, because it's like we want to be together, we can't be together. How do we be together through laughter? We all want it, we all know it, and that's what it is. And you know it so well that there is such a need, and you are craving, we're all craving it. And how we figure it out, I think it needs to be talked about more, collaborated with other artists that are doing it, and also leadership that knows, hey, we want the comedian to be here. I mean, we have to eat, so we can eat, take our masks off to sit down to eat in places that need to survive. Economy needs to go on, and laughter is definitely a part of that. And how do we bring that all together,
Or just entertainment in general, really. I mean, one of my good friends put on a patio concert in her backyard a couple of Sundays ago, and I forgot how much just watching live music makes me happy, and it was amazing. And I mean, I agree on a level that we as entertainers kind of have a responsibility right now. And it sucks because the reason we kind of went into this business was to afford ourselves the absence of pressure. Once you have a family and all that stuff, you kind of have pressure to bring home the bacon and all that stuff. But as artists in any realm, when it comes to whether it's a painter or a musician or a comic or whatever, most of us got into this because we don't want the stress and the weight of having to take care of things monetarily that we don't really give a fuck about. I don't know if that makes sense at all, but I hope.
No, it does. I think so too, and that's where I think where we've always this whole situation has brought to light the shortcomings in a lot of facets. So what you're saying is, you get artists, they focus on the art. As long as I made good art, I feel fulfilled in my soul.
And that's where we need to live, or we're going to blow our head off.
And then it just stays in the basement, and nobody ever sees your masterpieces because I don't do self-promotion. That's disgusting.
That's an asshole thing to do.
That's an awful thing to do. Okay. And then on the other side of the coin, you've got, the hardcore business type entrepreneurs that don't care anything about the art. And they they turn out the warm bodies just to be able to collect that commission. And they never really improve the business either because they're too focused on the business. So it's what I've always said in the past, and I'm sure I'll say it again. And that is artists need to be more entrepreneurial, meaning you do solve problems for money. And entrepreneurs need to be more artistic so that way they can live in a creative zone that might help them create more solutions.
You know,
To be
you know
better.
what they call that? You know what they call that in the corporate world,
I
Jared
don't know.
Dog?
What?
Synergy.
Oh.
Is that with S-I-N or S-Y-N?
I thought that was when people just worked together and it created a spiral. But whatever. I don't know shit about the corporate.
It's synergy combined with thinking outside of the box.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
Yeah. You know, it's this merge of
Yeah.
Keep doing the
of people
scissoring thing.
of people that are happy with wearing jeans on Fridays.
I mean, it's even like what I said earlier, Bryce. Your reward is that you don't have to wear a tie one
Friday.
day, 20% when you're here.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Meanwhile,
The
you
move
get
away.
25% of your income to the government this
Right.
whole time.
But you're gonna feel special because you get to wear khakis on Friday and 27 flare.
Or we get to have a food day.
Right. Hey, guys, we made our quota. Pizza party.
Who's gonna bring the smokies and barbecue sauce in the crock pot?
Bill, you bring the paper plates. Jeremy, you bring the chips. Get something that everybody likes, not that spicy hot wing stuff that you brought last time.
And here we go again with our thing that we were talking about before. I'm pretty sure we talked about this last week.
2-liter bottle of soda. Make sure it's caffeine free because we do have some diabetics here.
No nuts. Isaac has a nut allergy, so if you're gonna bring
These nuts.
is that who you're voting for?
Yep. 100%. Well, that's a vote for Trump. No, not to vote for these nuts.
Dude, okay, so
It's a vote for Trump.
let's talk about
vote for these nuts. He's not even running this year.
he's not even right. You fucking wasted your vote. Well, did I though? Did I? Really? Did I waste my vote because I wrote in my dad?
I'm gonna about this. I'm gonna put your address on my Twitter, and we're gonna show up at your house and protest you.
Dude, speaking of which, I have to show you. I'm gonna send you a video that I made tonight. My brother's a huge Cubs fan, right? So I get home and he's got the Cubs game on the TV, and it's like in extra innings, and you know, it's kind of an intense deal. And at one point so the game's tied and it goes into extra innings, and this dude the Cubs are playing the Indians, and they bring in this guy that is fucking just all over the place. So it's the bottom of the ninth inning. Actually, it didn't go into extra innings. It was straight up 9. Bottom of the ninth inning. The fucking pitcher walks the first guy. The next guy gets a base hit. So now it's first and third, and there's like one out. And dude comes up to bat, and right before the first pitch, he calls timeout real quick, which pissed the pitcher off, right?
Mhm.
So the next pitch, the pitcher fucking throws like right under his chin. Dude fucking falls down, whatever. Gets back up. Second pitch is a strike. And then the third pitch like hits him kind of on the forearm and then the knob of his bat at the same time. So it like the umpire could have called it a foul ball, but instead called it a hit by a pitch or whatever, which loaded the bases. And as the guy that got hit is running to first base, the camera goes to the pitcher, and I swear to God, dude, the pitcher, if you could read lips, I swear to God, the pitcher was like, he's a fucking fag. So I fucking rewinded it and videoed the whole thing. And I'm just like, come on, lip readers. Like, I gotta know. Like, I'm pretty sure this guy just made a homophobic statement. Let's cancel this motherfucker right now. Let's ruin his life right now.
Yeah.
And then karma happened. And he hit.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And then, because the game was tied with 1 out in the 9th and the bases were loaded, and the motherfucker hit the next guy and brought in the winning run by hitting a batter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What a messed up way to win.
I almost want to I'm going to put that shit up and be like, let's cancel him right now. Let's ruin this motherfucker's whole life. Because the camera caught him mouthing, fuck you, you fucking.
Cold. It was a cold mic moment.
Yeah, because I've been there, dude. You know, like you're in a competitive situation and you just. Like it goes back to, remember when Kramer got in trouble for saying the N-word and shit?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that situation when that happened. As a comic, tell me you couldn't watch that and understand why he went there.
It's not a choice I would have made, but like
Of course not.
I could also say you could go through so many of my videos of me on stage and pick out any 30 seconds or any, because the clip was 15 seconds. 30
Yeah, it
seconds
wasn't in
tops.
context of what happened before that.
Right. And so if you take anything out of almost any comedian's act and you can throw that up and it just makes them look like a ranting lunatic, and you don't know if maybe they were doing a character. I mean, you could look at Bill Hicks' stuff and not know who Bill Hicks is, not have any kind of respect for what he brought
The
to the
history
game.
of comedy or anything. Yeah.
Not any of that. Just grab 5 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds out of any given Bill Hicks set that might be on tape. And you might want to pull a cancel culture on him for that 30 seconds because you're taking it out of what the story that went around.
Fucking hour.
You can't tell if he's talking different right there than what he talked before. Because
Yeah, he might have said it in a fucking shitty Southern accent or something.
Right.
Like to show that I'm a fucking, like making fun of a KKK guy or something like that.
You don't, right, exactly. And so you just clip out.
Because he said the word.
Right.
But at the same time, you got to fucking understand you can't just say that word no matter what. When you're a white dude, I don't give a fuck what the context is. You can't say that word. And if you have some kind of need to be able to say that word, why?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, true. But then, just watch a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah, and because it's art. Because it's art. But when we do it, it's live, so it's not necessarily art. Like,
Well, see,
when
that's the
it's
thing
live,
about comedy is like if you can't be a villain comedian, you can't go on stage and be a villain comedian. Like when Andy Kaufman would do Tony Clifton, they hated him. They
Yeah,
didn't get you could be a villain in any other type of art. You could be a villain rock star by way of you can be the rock star that hates the crowd, and and if you do it right, the crowd will love you that much more for it.
I mean, how many fucking look at anything? Look at heavy metal music. Look at punk music. Look at all that shit. All those motherfuckers do is come out on stage and finger everybody.
Every
fucking show.
Live bootleg recordings of James Addiction telling the crowd to F off.
Yeah.
You guys suck. We're not going to play Been Caught Stealing. And then they go, oh, play it. So they come out to the encore and then they just hum it and play it real badly.
Yeah. Mostly because Perry was fucking high on heroin. But, other than that.
But try doing that as a comedian. Oh, I'm not going to do I'm sick of doing, you might be a redneck. You might be a redneck. Like, imagine if Jeff Foxworthy came out and just totally like did a mockery of himself and of his audience, like full on.
They'd be so pissed off. The audience would be so pissed off.
Driving comedy is making a comeback.
When Drew Carey started hosting I might be getting this mixed up. There's a comedian that got known for that worked dirty. It wasn't Bob Saget's a great example of this, but it's not the comedian.
Oh my God, yes.
Great example of this. Worked dirty his whole time, does a clean TV show, like squeaky clean TV show. People go now see him do stand-up, and he's doing his regular nightclub act, and they lose their minds because he's not. That's not the clean, friendly guy they saw on TV. He can't be that guy.
That's not Danny Tanner.
Right. And Tim Allen. See, Tim Allen was a dirty act. People wanted to go see Tool Man. They didn't want to see Tim Allen. They wanted to see Tool Man. But Drew Carey, this was the thing. Drew Carey started hosting The Price is Right. They went to see him do stand-up. He's doing old Drew Carey dirty dick jokes and beer jokes and stuff that he wrote. Dude, he wrote a book and that stuff was in there.
Our buddy
can't do it now. They used to host The Price is Right.
Our buddy Willie Farrell knew Drew Carey back in the day. Like us, like Tom Segura is fucking huge right now. And it's like, yeah, I fucking did a goddamn roast in a restaurant with Tom Segura when he was featuring. Mm-hmm. So like we all have that stuff. And Willie told me this story about going to see Drew. They were both in Vegas at the same time. And it was post Drew Carey show, but not Price is Right Drew Carey quite yet, I don't think.
Right.
And so Willie went to Drew's show after Willie was done and sat in the back of the room and watched him perform. And Willie with Drew Carey was like me with Tom Segura. He met, like, I think when he met Drew Carey was opening for him. And so Willie talks to him after the show and he's like, man, you were doing all the same stuff I did. You were doing 15 years ago or whatever. And Drew Carey's answer to him, which is fucking amazing, he goes, yeah, isn't it great? Like stand-up's like the only stand-up's like the only thing you can just do for like 20 years and not get any better and still make a living. It's fucking crazy.
True that.
Which made me laugh, but at the same time also pissed me off.
Isn't it great?
Because it's like, dude, you rolled the dice and you got lucky, man. I mean, at some level, we've all been doing this for so long that we know that there are so many thousands of people that are very talented. But somebody in the right place at the right time noticed them, which also makes for the American Idol fucking 2020 comic audition shit where people think they're going to get discovered overnight. But every fucking overnight success in the history of the world was only an overnight success in the eyes of the public. They weren't at all an overnight success. They grinded. They slept in their car. They traveled 20 hours for fucking $100.
Right. Yep.
But nobody sees that.
No, they don't see the 10,000 hours. And in fact, people don't see the 10,000 hours that they think that principle is actually a myth. You know, I've talked to kids that are fresh out of college. I'm like, they go, oh no, they act like they're done. Ugh. I'm
Yeah, like
gonna
everything.
get.
Well, I
I'm
did
like,
everything I was supposed to do, so
yeah, I'm like, you still got to go get good. They're like,
Yeah.
what's that mean? Well, you still got. I literally said this to someone. I go, you still got to put in your 10,000 hours. She goes, what does that mean? What do you mean? What does that mean? You're a college graduate, and you don't even like. What
you
are
don't
they
even know the
teaching?
10,000 hours concept.
What are what are they teaching? What are they teaching? And it's statistically true.
They're
It's
teaching
statistically
conformity
true.
is what they're
Most
teaching.
people, even with the college, most people don't read it. Like it's like less than it, and less than one book a year average.
I can tell you for certain that's me.
I can. Yeah, it shows.
Does it?
Yeah.
Why is
Yes.
it? How does it show? Tell me how it shows.
Well, we'll save that for the next episode because it's going to be another 2 hours.
No, I described this before, like these like cycles of just like a mental state of doing nothing or whatever else that just makes me feel better in the moment or whatever versus
Chasing your blood.
versus just saying fuck all that shit, go be driven. Like when it comes to reading and books and all that shit, like I'll have a fucking year where I will read 10 books that year. But then it'll be another 5 years I don't read a single fucking book.
Right.
I just do what tickles my fancy,
Well,
Jared Dog.
And maybe
Right.
that's where it's at. Maybe it's the comedy books that are going to come out now, you know, having more written word.
Yeah, maybe.
Have
Like
you written,
we should be the Fahrenheit 451 of comics
What-
right now.
So I'm asking Bill here, like your book, your comedy book of life. Have you written something? Have you put something to word on paper or manuscript to write at this point in life? Like now is the time to potentially write.
I mean, I can show you 8. I can show you about 100 different like phone like note entries
So we can take those phone notes
over the last 6 months of me going through a divorce and a pandemic and a career and all that shit. Like it's all in there.
Yep.
But
put that into the book,
Hey, there you go.
and you have your manuscript.
You got
Maybe
your
now it's
manuscript.
time for all the comedians.
That's right. Confessions of a Crowd Killer.
Now we have a book of comedy.
well, here's the thing though. Like I can write all that down, but I'm gonna need Jared Dog to take care of all the, logistics.
Get that out on Amazon Prime. We can be published in a week from now. You got all the screenshots.
Dude, just call me every morning and tell me to make my bed. That's really all I need from you right now.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up, man.
We already got 2 kids.
Yeah.
All right,
Hey,
Bruce,
man,
that was good. That was a good one.
We'll talk more in depth about the future of everything soon, but
Yeah.
just know that I
always-
love you and I love your family and I love your approach to life and you know, we'll see what happens going forward, but to be honest with you, man, I really don't want to stop doing this together
Hmm.
at all. Like we can do it when we can do it, but I don't I would love we can do the thing, you know, designed around me or whatever, but I really don't want to let this thing go because I think it's a real honest fun thing to do, and I think that I mean we saw tonight we had more people commenting and stuff than we ever have. I mean,
Sure.
if you just hang in there, I think this is a viable thing. Just our conversations are something that can increase the sum of human happiness in the world.
Absolutely. And just to interject, I don't know you, your dog, but I also love you massively. You're a good dude. Like, I just wish I could give you a big hug right now. And to everybody else that's out there, if they are still listening or they do listen, you know, that what you're doing is awesome. Like that you're actually doing this is important. We need to collaborate. We need to make sure that we talk. We need to do the things that you're doing. It's very positive. It doesn't matter how well done is what I'm trying to say. Well fucking done. My first
Yeah,
experience.
likewise. It's good meeting you, Josh. This is a good
my energy to you is awesome. I hope we get to meet at some point. I can give you a big high five heart and
right on.
yeah, as
Likewise.
a patron,
That's coming from the most interesting man in the world in real life, just so you know.
just a real dude that likes to
I
travel.
can't wait to hear more of those stories.
Loves. I
Dude.
like to listen. I'm a good listener. I'm like Linda that doesn't listen but really does.
Yeah, you know why? You know why? Because that's what fucking smart people do, is they shut up and listen.
And they listen. That's right.
And they help
And
people
they read.
that don't know math. They give them, they give them the answers to life. You know, if somebody needs something, just give it to them. Like,
through a protractor.
Don't question anything. Just do that thing that helps the other person.
Well, just so you know for sure, Josh did not hand me those answers. I found them. He handed them to a chick who fucking left them out in the open.
Maybe a bird like
Because no matter how smart you are, you could be a code scholar. Pussy will fucking change everything.
Indeed. We don't need geometry to
No.
No calculus necessary.
We just need a boner. That's it. The boner rules everything.
We just need to get back to the football field.
You heard it here first, folks. The boner rules everything.
Oh, 100%. The boner is the fucking
Budman from Wisconsin. Budman peed his pants during my show. He was laughing so hard and he was so drunk that he peed his pants. And you can YouTube that. Heckler pees pants on YouTube. You want to talk about a real moment? That was a real moment.
I can't wait.
He owned it too. He just spread his legs far open. You can see the big puddle right there in his crotch. And that was the same show where they were playing the porn on the big screen in the back.
That only happens in a fucking grassroots comedy tour situation. And now looking back over all these years, the most fun I ever had was on the fucking just dirty small town bar fucking just I look back at that episode of Louie where where he had Stanhope on, and Stanhope's like, fucking, nah, that's where comedy goes to die. You fucking come here. And they go do some open mic in Jersey somewhere or something. Like, that's at the end of the day, if I never did another show ever again, my fondest memories would come from those fucking small town dirty ass shows, man.
100%.
Like those are the most fun. Those are those nights where you find yourself in somebody's fucking trailer at 4 o'clock in the morning. Like, what the fuck happened that got me right here?
That's right.
You know, you get to the point where everyone else in the trailer is just obliterated and not worth a shit. And you're like, fuck, who's going to take me to my hotel right now?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
That's
the only thing I can think
of. Those are the experiences. The fucking the porn star in front of her husband. Those are the fucking experiences. We're just trying to make stories, man.
I spent the best years of my life while I was in this place.
I could have been a contender.
All right, till next time, guys. Josh, good meeting you, brother.
Likewise.
For sure.
Much appreciated to be on your show.
All right, brother. Peace.